Hey everybody, it's Dazzle representing DCUunlimited.com and leader of the Zero Logic League on the USPC servers. I am here with one of my fellow league members and DCU Unlimited podcast host, Barbara.
Hi, guys.
And here we are going to talk to you guys about FOS1. This is a very fun raid, and this is also one of the raids that you can do as a lower combat rating. I think it's really fun because it does involve a lot of strategy, not as tedious as FOS2, and not as much. I guess I find FOS3 sometimes a little boring just because you're in one room and you're just basically trying to fight everybody. But I like this one because it takes a little more strategy. But it is really cool and I like it. This we did in conjunction with one of the other ones, the other FOS2 videos. So so basically we have the same people around here. I believe instead this time we have Miku is healing and Jules is DPSing.
Right. And
So
it looks like Ozzy's main troll again, and I'm sub trolling.
yes. So the good thing about this place is there's a lot of tunnels, so it's pretty much bottlenecking all the time. And as long as you have the order right, DPS, I'm sorry, tank, DPS, trollers, and healers, then you'll be fine. I don't think we wiped a lot of times in these parts because it's not that difficult.
No, not really. I mean, FOS3 is a fun one to do as long as you understand, what to hit and what not to hit at certain times. But cannot talk today. Mainly, it's basically a steel cage match, if you think
Oh
of it that
yeah,
way.
exactly, yeah. So this one is I like it more because it's more strategy and you get to move a little around a little more. But yeah, however, you will get lost. Or not necessarily lost, but even if you know the place really well, it's hard to navigate. For me as a speedster, I gotta climb up rocks and stuff. Like, it's hard for me sometimes. Even now, like I just drop down here. I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I can't kill this guy by myself. Luckily, Grenko falls down and kills him for me, so that's good.
Yeah, it's not as difficult to navigate as FOS2. But
Oh,
in many respects, in certain areas, especially like 3/4 of the way through, it does get a little tricky because sometimes you don't realize you have to duck low to get into one of the caverns to get through to the next section.
yeah, exactly. And sometimes there's places that are closed off, but the map will show that you can go straight through, and you can't really. So that's also a little bit, that also confuses you a little bit. But yeah, also in this part, make sure that you take out those turrets, because a lot of people forget those, and they're a pain. You got to take them out as soon as you can, because if not, they'll just keep going at you, and it's a pain to try to kill the ads while you're getting hit by that turret, and they'll knock you down.
Yeah, I just think of it this way though. You've got these guys running around you, the enemies in red, attacking you, and they're drawing all your attention, and then you have these turrets to the side who are just pounding you from behind. So while they're keeping your attention, the turrets are taking you down. So it's sort of a nice little two-step system. If you always make sure that you have those turrets taken down, you don't ever have to worry about watching your back.
Yeah. So Barbara's rule of thumb is don't get pounded from behind.
Basically, yeah, it's a very good rule of thumb I've always lived by.
Yes, getting pounded from behind is not
Very
fun.
bad.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want that to happen. Uh, especially, there is no defense against that.
There
there's,
really isn't.
there's no defense against that, so it's hard to it's hard to defend yourself from that. So yeah, so take care of yourself. Don't let these things flank you because you'll let them go sometimes. Sometimes they only do minor damage, and you're just kind of beating them up. And as a healer, I'll be healing and not even focus on the fact that I'm not healing myself, and I'll die, and other people are alive because I'm healing them, but I won't take care of myself. So make sure that you take care of yourself, and make sure to get those guys, trollers and healers. You guys can take care of the turrets because you know turrets aren't that hard to take down, but they are a little, inconvenient to have there. So.
And Dazzle's number one rule for a healer: always take care of yourself.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh
exactly.
God,
You
we are
know.
horrible today. All right, let's see if we can get through this.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
it's sometimes I don't know how many times I've died because I've just been like, man, I am just not taking care of myself.
well, if you notice, with those groups, getting back to subject, uh, thought bubble. I'm using quite a bit of thought bubble on these groups where I'm able to throw it on them. It CCs them and it pushes them back so that the other DPSs can take their time and hit these people.
Yeah, exactly. This is where a lot of, especially trollers, shine a lot because, especially a sub troller, because the main troller is going to be trying to spam their pot, or not spam the pot, but spam their, regen their power and put pot down. But the sub troller is going to be doing a lot of defense debuff and, like you said, thought bubble or whatever your CC is going to be here. So definitely that's gonna be where you shine, and of course the DPSs who focus more on AOE damage are gonna be this is where they're gonna get their shot.
Well, it's a lot of fire. Fire's gonna have a really good time here if they get their stuff down right.
Yeah, fire. Obviously people who have specialty in like their AOEs, fires, electricity. Grenko has a lot of fun with the mob, so. Um, it just depends on what power you have, but yeah, a good variation of it is always good. You at least want to have one single target DPS and two AoE hitters. That way the AoE hitters can always get the mobs and they'll do their thing and get their ads, and the single target will focus on the boss. Good single targets are like, nature and Green Lanterns and stuff like that.
Well, you especially want those AoE hitters in hallways like that, those corridors that you'll get in FOS2 and in FOS1, because then you can take them out very easily.
Yeah. So now we're at the first boss. Now this is the Sunstone Herald. Um, there's not much of a strategy here, but you need a really good tank. And luckily we have Alpha Sigma, who is a great tank. He is a fire tank, and he's really good. The key here is to keep the aggro on the Herald. That's pretty much the because he will do high damage even if the tank is taking care of the boss. He will do high damage to anybody. I mean, you can see I'm pretty much healing as much as I can because the boss will do a lot of damage, and it does the same type of charge spinning move that the Prime Assassin does on FOS2. So you want to look out for that. Another thing about this boss is that the ads are just sometimes overwhelming. The ads keep coming out and keep coming out. While the tank keeps the boss busy, the damage dealers, specifically the AoE ones, need to focus on ads because at least have one DPS who, like I said before, at least have one DPS who single targets, and the other ones focus on the ads because they will be overwhelming. At some point here, you'll see that they just, all you hear is the little clickety clacks from the little spiders because they just keep coming out.
Yeah, those dwarf mites tend to be a real problem. As you can see, they just sort of crowd you. Sometimes you can't even see what's going on the way they're crowding you. If you've got somebody with a decent CC effect or a lasso, iconic lasso, that's really good sometimes, especially if you want to, make some room and kind of clear a path.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, here we lost Grenko because I was trying to do one of my melee heals, and he was like, I was right next to the boss, and all three of us went down. Me, Ozzy, and Grenko. We got Ozzy and me, but Grenko went down. So now it's just really up to the single target DPS and the AoE DPS. So it's gonna be hard, but in these cases maybe you might want to wipe. In this case we didn't because Grenko was like, look, you guys can do it. Don't worry about me. Just keep going. And we did. We persevered and kept going. So
Right, and
Just
as you can see a lot of flaring. You can see we're really pounding that psychic empowerment. At least the mental trollers are. Ozzy's gadget, isn't he?
yes, he's gadgets.
Yeah, because you could see the light blue aura flaring up. You could see him
Yeah.
really working that power outage, and you could tell from the left-hand side that that power is staying pretty consistent.
Yeah, no, it is very good. The power was great in this, and it's
Assassin down.
basically like like I stated before, the whole seesaw effect is very important on boss raids. That's pretty much the make or break a raid, and as far as power goes. And you want that. You want the AOE DPS to try to get as much power as you can, so you can take out all these fighters. I mean, look at all these guys; they're everywhere, and that's because we don't have Grenko, and Grenko is pretty much the the um the
The
one
AoE.
guy who does the AoE damage. He's electricity. And Jules has he can put down the circle of I think circle protection turns into something else. It does damage instead of that, but so it is a little more AoE. So you have Assassin taking care of the boss, and um, you know Jules trying to do the AoE stuff. But yeah, look at all these mobs and ads that come out, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's very difficult to even see your own teammates sometimes. So you really got to watch their bars, to see what's going on as a healer and as a troller. It's more
Yeah,
important than
exactly.
ever.
Yeah, exactly. And me, I just try to keep as much melee as I can. If I see anybody's health go down, like I just saw Alpha's go down a little bit, I'll just try to heal him from afar. I know that I got to get close to him, so I'll move a little bit close and do that. But yeah, pretty much you have to space yourself. Luckily, he's on his way out, the Herald. So
Luckily, yeah.
there we go. Yeah. So, and even afterwards, you have to be careful. Just because you get this little cutscene, those little spiders keep coming for at least another second. So you'll see that they keep fighting, and he goes down, and they're still around. So
Yeah, you still got a
keep
few
fighting them.
seconds.
Yeah, keep fighting them until they just kind of poof disappear all of a sudden. Yeah. So there you go. Now we get all the stuff here for I don't think I got anything good as far as loot on this one. But you'll have that. There's gonna be runs where you don't have as good loot as other stuff. And for those of you who want to do FOS and you know, remember that if you do novice, you get novice loot. So if you want to go, you should always try to go for expert, because even if try to get your league or another group to carry you, it's a lot easier than grinding for novice.
And even if you don't get gear from a run, always remember you're getting those marks of distinction, marks of Krypton, whatever you're supposed to be getting for that raid group, and you're building towards your higher tier gear. So
Yeah.
even if you don't get that middle range 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 gear, you're getting, something out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, once you reach, once you go out of here, you get to pull this switch, and you got to take out the ads, and then you'll see somebody will pull the switch. And there's two paths, and it's pretty much random which path it's gonna be. It could be the left or the right path. In this case, I think it's if you're looking towards the switch, is to the right.
Right. Yeah.
So, and it's pretty much bottlenecking the whole way through here also. But, if you notice, it will get a little harder the more deeper you get. So, the further you get into this raid, the harder these guys are gonna be. I mean, we didn't really wipe that much, but at one point we were like, oh man, we gotta really, we gotta really look out, because these guys are getting a little tougher. So yeah, we're just going through bottlenecking. Eventually we're gonna come to some turrets and go a little bit outside and stuff. But it's pretty much just take out everybody here.
Yeah, it's mostly you're just sort of burning it down till you get to the next mini boss.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? This is what I like about this raid, is that it has elements of like FOS 3 in it, where you just kind of just killing everything and trying to just get through to the next thing. And it also has elements of FOS2 in it, where you have to strategize in order to get things done. And I think that's what I like the most about this raid, is that it has the best of both worlds and is not as hard as either of those two. You know. So yeah, you can see we're just burning away, and we're gonna about to go switch the other. We're about to go press the other switch on the at the end over there. So we got to take care of all these guys.
Now, I can't remember if it's the hoarders or the sentries that actually have an ability that bubbles you. Because I just saw a bubble on you just a second ago.
Oh yeah, you know I'm not exactly sure either. I think it's I don't think it's the sentries. I think it's the hoarders. But you know what? Actually, it might be the turrets too. Because I know the turrets throw stuff at
Well,
you.
see,
Oh no,
now
it's not. Yeah.
it must be a hoarder then.
Yeah.
Because it's a similar effect to what happens in the Batcave, where they put the handcuffs on you, and you
Yeah.
really can't do anything. You basically you gotta hold down your block breaker until you get out of it.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So definitely look out for those, because those, man, those will take you out of commission for a few seconds, and then you got to get back into it. It also helps out if you remember, if you guys have the for every movement the mode, you guys have like an innate that allows you to gain power for every time you activate a block breaker or get out of a block or an interrupt or stuff like that. So if you look like you're not having as much power as you are wanting to, then put some into those innates, because those really help out, especially for trollers.
Right. The flight has, I believe it's the whole left
Left
side.
column, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole two left columns have innates in them, about halfway and down, and those are they're unbelievable. You've got to have them if you're going to be a troller in your flight mode. Because
Yeah,
I can't tell
exactly.
you how many times I haven't, how many times I've used them over and over again.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need them as any other role, but it's good to have them because you break out and you get a little bit of power. So
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. And you basically just kind of build your skill points as much as you can to get those. So
It's
now
also,
here,
oh, sorry. Yeah, it's also really good for PvP though too.
yes, definitely for PvP, you have to have them. So here we're going to what is, I believe, called the Brood Mother.
Yes.
I think that is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so
Sunstone for Mother.
yeah, this is a tricky fight. It actually didn't take us that long, but in other raids, it'll take us a while. Um, what you have to do is basically the tank has to keep the aggro on those three sentries, I believe, right? Those three guys right there that the
Right.
tank has. Those guardians, that's what they are. And then these crystals will drop. As you can see, I took one crystal and brought it to the Brood Mother. You have to put the crystal in enough times in that Brood Mother for her to get unlocked from that little cage that
Yeah,
she's in.
it basically disrupts her shield.
Yeah, exactly. But you also have to be careful, because those little spiders that keep coming up, if they go all the way up to if they go up to the teleporter, um, they'll change into guardians, and you'll have more guardians, and that's definitely a no-no.
Now, this is where you really need to use your crowd control. As you can see, another thought bubble. Uh,
Yeah.
if you can push them, if you can grab them and push them off that cliff, it gives you more time. It'll give
Yes.
the DPS time to burn.
Grab, pushes, and pulls. That's what you definitely need. The tank is not going to be able to do any of that to the spiders, so it's really up to the trollers up to this point. I'm just trying to keep. And then also for healers, you're going to want one healer on the tank and one healer on everybody else. I'm trying to do a little bit of both while still getting the crystals, because the faster we can get the crystals out, the faster we'll get the boss out of there.
I
As you
just
can
saw
see, the boss.
Grinko do it.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, the boss gets out, and then you'd have to, try to get the boss afterwards. So it takes a little bit of strategy. You do have to, make sure that everybody is on a certain task. Like if you know who's gonna go get the crystals, you got to have somebody getting the crystals, somebody backing up, somebody healing a specific person, stuff like that. So make sure you get a good strategy on here. And a good thing about this is we have enough DPS on this one where we could burn this boss pretty fast. So you can see they're just tanking and smanking at this point.
Out of curiosity, what's your supercharge?
I have Invigorate, which allows me to give power and health, and if anybody goes under 35% of health, then it'll bring them back up.
Ah,
So it's a pretty good power supercharge. I don't use it as often because my instant heals are pretty damn good. So you'll see I'll have a full bar for a while and not even notice because I won't necessarily use it. If I see you guys, if I see the trollers missing power, I'll try to put it out there just for that because that power is almost more important for me than healing because I could heal with other stuff.
right.
In this part, Miku is actually trying. I think he goes DPS because he's trying to get the he has a sorcery, so he's gonna go with the transmutation to get the feat for getting all the little the little crystals out of the way. I don't think we end up doing it, but this is actually me solo healing without knowing that I'm solo healing because I didn't actually know that he was gonna do that. So you see me like, wait a minute, I'm sort of working harder here. But it's a good way to show you that how to solo heal this part. It's not as difficult, and if you have somebody like me who's a melee based heal, then you'll be able to do it pretty well. So you could see that I'm I think Miku changes to DPS at some point.
Well, I still see him as a healer.
Yeah, I think when the crystals drop, he'll change to a DPS
Ah, okay.
because that's what he wanted to do. But then I think he stays that way for a while.
Well, now this Scorpionoid, he has a tendency of burrowing rather. Um,
Yeah.
and in those situations, flight is good.
Yes. Flight is good. And obviously he's always gonna take somebody and encase them in like you know, a little ice block and then throw them around. So I've gotten that a few times. I don't think I gotten this in this time, but that's happened to me several times and it sucks. uh, so yeah, now you see the crystals drop,
Right.
and I'm not sure if Miku changes. I think he will, but I'm not exactly
Now
sure.
we're mainly throwing these crystals and trying to break them because usually if you try to shoot them, it takes a little too long to do it. By the time you finally get it down close enough, these little burrowers appear.
Yeah, and they become those burrowers, and you don't want to deal with them, so you have to take out as much crystals as you can.
Right.
The feat is actually really hard to get. I still don't have it on my main tune, so it's actually quite hard to get. I think with transmutation, if you have several sorcery healers or several sorcery people, you can do it, but otherwise it's kind of hard.
Right. So you can see an AOE effect, the electric, AOE with the cloud above him, and you can
Yeah,
see
exactly.
also a sorcerer's ring was around him. Ah, there's another one.
Yeah. So basically, just hit them hard at this part. This is not that hard. The hardest parts of this raid pretty much already happened. This is just tank and spank.
Right.
And
It's really easy if you can burn him down, and you can also notice that he does have some debuffs on him.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it just rinse and repeat really. Um,
Well, a lot of the stuff you do, that once you get past, you know what you're doing, it is basically a rinse and repeat situation. It's just important that you know how your team's going to work and how, what the plan's going to be.
yeah. Um, Now I'm not sure if Miku changes roles then. I think he
Yeah,
might just change. I think I was just solo healing in the sense that he wasn't using any heal powers. Um, because it did seem a little harder for me to do that.
that's
Um,
completely possible because I don't. Is he? Well, I don't see any of his power changing at all. Did he go down, and I didn't see it?
uh, it is possible, yeah.
That might be what it is then. It might have been that he might have gotten knocked out earlier and
Oh
wasn't able
yeah.
to return, which meant that you had to solo heal.
Oh yeah. If you can see the chat, yeah, he says Dazzle solo heals.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what it was.
That's what it was.
Because I saw no power change. That's another sign that somebody might not be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just realized that I was solo healing there.
And yeah, you just said that's why it was so hard.
Yeah, so pretty much here, you're done with the Scorpion. So now you go through some of these tunnels again, and you're not far from the last part of this raid, which is actually very easy. It's not hard at all. So here you're gonna want to just basically keep going through this part, and you want to take care of these guys. Now there was this part in that sort of glitched. I'm not sure if it's a glitch or just a horrible spawn point, but we kept dying and then spawning right next to where we died and just dying again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look out for that. Maybe it's something that it's a glitch. Maybe it was just for this raid. I'm not exactly sure, but it happens. So you want to take out here turrets and the sentries such as you can. Those turrets, again, they're tricky, so you want to take them out too.
Well, turrets are really great if you need to boost up your supercharge.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, at some point I use the supercharge in this, and so you see me wanting to use you see me wanting to get as much healers, especially if I'm electric. I don't really use my weapon a lot. I just kind of try to keep everybody alive. So the turrets are very good for that.
Well, as a troller, if you specifically have word of power, that is really great. You need to make sure that you try to keep that supercharge as best you can. I know that Fire AoE also likes to keep that supercharge, whenever they can.
Yeah, fire AoEs have I don't remember exactly what their some of the supercharges are, but yeah, DPSs always want to keep the supercharge up. So as you can see right now, I'm just trying to keep everybody healed, but it's hard because we kind of got, some people died and then came back, and we're right next to each other, and it got a little difficult at this point. Jules went down right here.
Right.
So I'm trying to pick him up, but I can't, and then I go down.
And you can tell from my bar, I'm completely out of energy. Oh, I'm starting to build up now. I must have used a super... No, I didn't use a supercharge. But you can tell it's burning pretty fast, pretty hard.
And then I spawn, and I'm still right next to the fight. So
right.
I'm just kind of like, all right, hopefully these guys don't see me.
Which they did.
Which they did, so I gotta get up here with Assassin and make sure that I get to heal him a little bit, but again I'm down, so it's one of those things that it's hard for it to happen, but it happens sometimes. Sometimes you just get glitches like this.
Well, in that situation, sometimes the best thing you can do is just get as much distance as you can and long range until you can do something, unless you're strictly like a Green Lantern melee attacker, then you need to get into the action. But otherwise, if you've got range, use your range. Try to get some distance. You also notice that he's got a sort of spinning, or you did a second ago, sort of like a golden spinning like tornado around you.
Yeah. Look out for those.
Yeah.
That it's basically their little the Guardians AoE stuff. You want to look out for those, because those are when you have a few, like 2 or 3 of them doing it at the same time, that's pretty much a 1K hit.
Right. All right, now we're getting ready to come up to Crypto.
Yes, Crypto. Which you always, I always, my group always evades him. Nobody really pays attention to him. Nobody really does any damage to him. I think I do at some point, but since I don't do barely any damage,
Well, the main rule of thumb on that is focus on, your main person, the main person you need to. And I would just leave Crypto alone personally, unless he's right on top of you.
Yeah, if you want to go for the not a dog lover feat, it's important that you don't attack the 3 stations that are controlling Crypto. This means that you got to be careful with AoE powers and weapon attacks, like whatever weapons you're using. Fighting it this way means that the tank has to deal with the 2 bosses at the same time, but that's not really too difficult for the tank, as long as the tank holds aggro on Crypto, and the Domineer will usually be close by. They don't really, stray away from each other. It allows everybody to focus on burning down the Domineer. He's the main focus for everybody on this part. If you're not going for the feat, it's real easy. Just have a couple of people go around the map and destroy the 3 stations controlling crypto. Once he's free, everyone just focuses on the Domineer. So, it could go either way, but either way, it's actually pretty easy. As you can see, people are just, we just freed crypto, so that's the route we went because, we pretty much, most of us have the feat already.
I don't know if I do, honestly. I'll have to look.
You'd have to look, but I think sometimes it's the type of feat where you might do it by mistake and it just happens.
Yeah.
And you have it and you just don't realize they have it. I got it on my first time doing it because I think the group just did it that way just because they could.
Well, sometimes you just kind of do it. It's all gun-ho. If you don't know what's going on, you just charge and kind of pick up the pieces later.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. That was FOS1. That's it's pretty easy raid, and it's not very difficult. It's for people who are just going into the new T3 raids, that are new for them. FOS1 is definitely one that you want to get into because it's a good raid. It's got good loot, and it's a nice way. It's a nice introduction to what you're gonna see at FOS2 and FOS3. So yeah, that's pretty much FOS1. So, I have been Dazzle, and this has been Barbara.
Hey guys, and goodbye guys.
All right, goodbye guys. See you on the next video.
Take care.